481-007. Send me a text. You want 35192. We got our metal show here on The Buzzard. We were preempted last week. We will return this Saturday night. The show is called 2 Hours to Midnight, and it is 120 minutes of nothing but heavy metal. Brand new stuff, local metal. If you're in a band, make sure I get your stuff. Classics, throwbacks, all that stuff. Me, Corey Roddick, Pat Butler. We are the heavy metal triumvirate here at iHeart Cleveland. And so we perform for you on Saturday nights, 2 hours of heavy metal. So if that's your vibe, then join us. Got a lot of good stuff lined up this week. What are we going to play, Mary? I'm glad you asked. Going to play Crown Magnetar. This is a band I've been listening to while I've been working out. They just start and they don't stop. It's growling and screaming, and it's blazing fast, and I love it. I couldn't love it more. Going to play Sick of It All. Going to play. I'm sorry?
I don't think she likes it.
Well, I'm not going to play any for her because she's still reeling from that soaking thing. So I'm going to.
So you had to bring it up.
Well, I'm telling the audience. I'm telling the people who love heavy metal. This is called a tease in the business here for what I'll be playing for them on Saturday night. Brand new Spirit box. They can do no wrong as far as I'm concerned. Great bunch of kids from Chicago called Altered Perceptions. We're going to play for you. We'll play some classic Sabbath, whatever else. Anyway, Saturday night, 10 o'clock, 2 hours to midnight is our metal show. Somebody sent me this article from this past June. There's a big lawsuit against Poppy.
Oh.
Scrutiny to the prebiotic beverage industry.
Oh.
Little regulation on explosive growth leading to questions over what makes a product gut healthy. This is what I'm talking about. It's all marketing. And so there's a class action lawsuit. This is where products get into trouble, is when they do more than just some clever marketing. It's when the fine print doesn't match, these promises that they make. Well, we promise you get a healthy gut or whatever. And so keep your eyes on that, Mary.
Poppy, 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 poppy.
The late Shuby Taylor is part of that class action lawsuit, by the way. Although his estate is suing for copyright infringement. So as they should. Poppy passed the $100 million mark because they have a lot of market saturation. You can get it all over the place.
I'd never had it, and Costco didn't have any LaCroix. So this was let's try this.
I haven't done, we used to drink LaCroix like it was going out of style. I haven't had LaCroix in we just drink Hint water now. Yeah. LaCroix, I couldn't tell you the last time I had
Bubbles.
some of that.
Bubbles helps me not drink pop.
I got it. I was standing in my kitchen this morning eating yogurt with granola in it. And it's weird how nostalgia will hit you at strange places. I'm standing there by myself, leaning against the kitchen sink, eating my yogurt. This is like 20 to 7. And it reminded me of when I was a kid, because my mom, we've made a lot of jokes here on the show about how I grew up in my house, how things, how we grew up with food in my house, right? We weren't allowed sugars and pops and things like that. And so when we had yogurt, we had we couldn't put granola in it. We had to put wheat germ in it.
Ugh.
Because that was supposed to be much more healthy for you. Now, my mom knew, because breakfast time was us making breakfast for ourselves. We would get our lunch ready. My dad would take us to school. My mom didn't have a part in this. But what my mom did was, because she was very focused on us not going off the rails with respect to what we were eating. It was very important to her that we stayed healthy, that we weren't missing school, things like that. So what my mom did was, we had 3 options for breakfast. There was eggs, there was cereal, there was yogurt. Now, my mom knew that I would have cereal every single day if given the opportunity. So what my mom did was, she scheduled it out on the calendar. So we would get up, we'd go to the calendar in the kitchen, and we would see what we were supposed to have that day. And if it was a yogurt day, wheat germ was supposed to be part of the thing. And so I'm standing there, and it's occurring to me that I am an adult, and I can have whatever I want, right? But part of that kind of stays with you, and everybody's got something like this, something that doesn't have to be food, something that has stayed with you for that long, where you can only appreciate these things in retrospect, by the way. You can't possibly appreciate them when you're a kid or when you're younger. But in retrospect, you go, oh, you know, my mom was trying to take care of us and whatever. And some of those things you just don't lose. Now, I would not go and purchase wheat germ for my own house. I want nothing to do with it. But as I was standing there and the sun was coming up, I felt strangely nostalgic for that time as I was eating my yogurt with a granola that I picked out. Like a big boy, Bill.
Good job.
You did it.
Yeah. Like that, Mom.
Oh, yeah. Yup. How's 9/11 in New York?
I mean, I didn't really walk around the city or anything like that, but the commute in was normal.
Yeah.
I mean, they did that memorial this morning, you know.
Did you see any coverage of that, by the way?
I just saw pictures of Trump and Biden and Harris,
yeah,
all together shaking hands.
I wonder how awkward that was. I'll tell you who it's probably really awkward for is Rudy Giuliani. You want to talk about a guy who went from, 9/11 made that guy's career, right? If you want to put it that way. He was the mayor of New York, obviously, during 9/11. They would refer to him as America's mayor.
Yep.
And a more precipitous fall from grace you'd be hard-pressed to find with Rudy Giuliani. He's been disbarred, and he's been disgraced, and all by his own doing, by the way. This is not something that happened to him. He bought into all the MAGA nonsense, and this is what you get. But he was there, too. And all the things that he is culpable for now have nothing to do with then. You know, he was still very highly regarded. People have thoughts on that, too. You know, people who were living in New York at the time, everybody was so freaked out over 9/11 that anybody that looked like they were in charge really got the lion's share of the accolades, and that was Rudy Giuliani. He was out there taking charge. So I wonder how weird it is for him. I'm sure he's been at these every year, so not weird to, be there. But it's over the course of those 23 years, he's had his path has become very strange. I wonder if that's weird for him.
Right, because he could have probably just lived on that for the rest of his life.
Yeah. Hey, Rick.
Yeah, I'm here.
What's up, Rick?
Hey, so I'm calling in as regards to it's 9/11, and I'm hearing Alan Cox talk about how he's eating yogurt in his kitchen, reminiscent of nothing. Today is 9/11. This is the day that 3,000 Americans died. This is what I'm hearing on the radio? Fucking yogurt?
Well,
Not anymore, bud.
Thank you, Rick.
was it a live call?
Yeah.
Oh,
I had to dump him.
yeah, but
Rick doesn't like me. Apparently, Rick not listening to the show either. But he got a full head of steam,
Right.
and then he called and sat on hold while I was talking about 9/11 so that he could scream at me about... Well, he didn't scream.
Yogurt.
So that he could
And
yell at
also,
me
Alan's-
about not talking about 9/11. He got mad while I was talking about 9/11 that I wasn't talking about 9/11. And by the way, let's calm down, all right?
23 years.
It'd be well, that aside, it's not like I'm saying anything untoward about 9/11. I'm not, I don't have some hot take on 9/11. Other than I will say this, my biggest gripe with 9/11, aside from the terrorism and the death, is that it completely eclipsed the death of the great John Ritter. John Ritter died on September the 11th, 2001. He had a heart attack and collapsed on the set of his television show. He had a show back in the day called 8 Simple Rules About Dating My Daughter or something like that.
Something like that,
teenage
yeah.
daughter.
It was Katie Seagal. I think it was Kaylee Cuoco early on. I think Spade was in it. They hired him to replace John Ritter. I don't remember who the old guy was. It wasn't George Siegel, I don't think. Maybe it was. Anyway, I was such a massive, massive John Ritter fan. As a kid, Rick, you're going to get mad here. I'm going to be talking about something that's not 9/11. As a kid, although, Rick, this story doesn't involve yogurt. So loved Three's Company. Loved Three's Company. And that was John Ritter. And then he would go on to do movies, did a couple of kids' movies, did an R-rated film called Skin Deep that to this day I think is one of the most underrated comedies of that entire era. But I loved John Ritter. And he died from the very same thing that my former co-host in Chicago would die from. He died from something called an aortic dissection, which is basically, as I understand it, like a part of your heart just spontaneously tears out and you die. So, love John Ritter, but he died on September the 11th, 2001. And it was obviously, anything else that happened, obviously, was not going to get any kind of coverage on 9/11.
It's like when Farrah Fawcett died the same day as Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson.
Well, I was thinking about that yesterday when Dave Grohl announced that he was cheating on his wife and got someone pregnant the same day as the debate.
Well, what I was thinking was Linkin Park should be sending Dave Grohl a basket of flowers because he got them off the front page as far as rock and roll goes. All anybody was talking about in music was Linkin Park. And Dave Grohl comes swinging in on a chandelier. And, the fallout from that still continuing. Well, this is why, what do we always say? We talk about parasocial relationships on the show, right? People who feel so invested in celebrities. It's very much kind of part and parcel of what our culture is now, because you have direct access to people who are famous and things like that. And, Foo Fighters are on tour, by the way, so I'm curious of just logistically how that works out. And it's not his obligation to give any more information about the situation, but obviously we're all curious, and so it's led to the speculation of, well, how did this come to light?
She's probably hotter than his wife.
It's got nothing to do with that.
Oh, maybe.
No, what I'm saying is, how did he have to put out a statement?
The baby was born.
Right. But she had to have come to him before that and said, hey, here's the situation.
Paternity test. Once I get the paternity test back, then we'll go from there.
Right. But there are different stages, right? Depending on how early she found out, she could have gone to him and he would have begged her to have it terminated. He would have begged her to have it terminated. The guy's worth $330 million. He's fine on money, so it's not that. But the woman is probably like, well, I'm not going to do that. So I'm just, again, it doesn't really matter. It's just when these stories are that big, I'm always curious. Somebody posted a screen grab. They were listening to Foo Fighters, and they have a song from that first album called Weenie Beanie. Might be track 7 or 8. And they said if Dave Grohl had just used one of these, he wouldn't be in this predicament. So, yeah, that's a weird thing. The Grohl thing continues today. I saw a lot of people were saying that Courtney Love has been vindicated after many, many years. Courtney Love has said the entire time that Dave Grohl is a scumbag, and people just called her a shrew and jealous and blah, blah, blah. But it was well known that they didn't get along. But so there's a lot of schadenfreude, I guess, with the Courtney Love camp with respect to Dave Grohl. Brian called. Remember Brian?
Now we're talking.
I still love you until the day is here. Ooh, 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 baby, baby.
Throwing us some Smokey Robinson. How about that?
Baby, baby.
Brian, you magnificent bastard. Don't ever change. Thank you, Brian. His musical tastes are varied. They're all over the place.
Love it.
Yeah, love it too.
He's got a very eclectic taste. I like it.
Yep. So, yeah, the article I was looking at this morning on Dave Grohl was in the Daily Mail, and they're like, Dave Grohl lives a humble life. You know, they have a family car, and he doesn't own any property despite being worth almost $350 million. It's like, well, you if it comes to that, you can write people some checks. I don't know. But that's a tough situation for everyone to be in. Who knows if there's a prenup in place? They've been married for quite some time, have 3 daughters. But 9/11 has, I don't think that that's going to, if it had been 9/11/2002, there wouldn't be a lot of Dave Grohl headlines. People are telling me John Ritter died in 2003. Oh, I thought he died in 2001.
Well. Looks like that call was a brick. He was on to something
Yeah,
here.
2003. Okay, sorry. Yeah. Well, anyway, he still died on September the 11th, and he was not going to get the coverage. That was only 2 years after. He was not going to get the coverage that somebody else would have gotten. Alan Dave Grohl didn't want to pay any money, so he beat her to the punch. I'm telling you, a guy in that position would pay any amount of money to not have to deal with what he's dealing with now. Guaranteed. I've got to take a break. I do want to talk about the debate.
Okay.
Did you watch the debate, Mary?
Sure did.
Yeah.
I did too.
Did we watch all of it?
Yep.
I made most of the way through.
I did not think I was going to watch the whole thing, and I watched.
How could you not?
Well, because it's blah blah blah, right?
But
I mean,
it wasn't.
I didn't watch. No, it wasn't.
Drama.
I didn't watch all the Biden-Trump debate. Probably.
I did.
Probably. Did you?
I'm the only American on this show, so.
Mary Santora, everybody. She is out there taking one for the team.
By the dawn's early light, what so proudly we hail,
All right, so let me take a break. I'll have Skillet tickets for you. You like the band Skillet? They are quietly one of the biggest bands in the world, and they are coming to Cleveland. They're going to play the Agora for you just a couple of weeks away. September 26th, they'll be over there. And one of the people who wins tickets from me this week will get the meet and greet pre-show with Skillet. They're on the Revolution tour. So we'll do that next.
The Alan Cox Show on 100.7 WMMS. And everywhere you go on our free iHeartRadio app. We got stuff. You want stuff. Win stuff. This week at WMMS.com.
WMMS presents Clutch and Rival Sons on the Two-Headed Beast Tour. Register to win a pair of tickets plus a limited edition autographed vinyl of Clutch's Blast Tyrant and an autographed vinyl of Rival Sons' Great Western Valkyrie. Get more info and register to win at WMMS.com.